So folks, Outlander season 4 is now with us, and I tell you, I couldn't wait for this series to start. Now I know that many people have complained that Diana Gabaldon's books are way too long and that some of the plot lines are here, there and everywhere, but I'm afraid I'm a bit of an Outlander junkie and I couldn't wait for season 4 to start. Now I'm a coffee addict and I must probably have about 30 sugars a day, I kid you not. But I would rather give that up before I give up Outlander. Now in saying that, season 4 has started. And I tell you what, I'm a bit disappointed. I can't put my finger on it. There's something wrong. There's something missing. A lot of the acting as well is a bit wooden. I can't explain it. But all of a sudden it's become very, very slow. There's some noticeable characters that have come back. Murtoch and John Gray. Now once again, I've said this before, John Gray holds his own. A bit disappointed in Murtoch. He's lost a bit of his edge, I don't know. And some of the sex scenes in Outlander now are starting to feel very, very uncomfortable. I don't know, I can't put my finger on this. I don't know what's wrong. Now many of you that have been following series 4 will know that there's still two very big scenes to come. One is Brianna returning, and of course there's another very large upsetting rape scene, I suppose you could say. I don't want to give too much of that away, but I don't know if these scenes are going to be enough to pull this particular series back in line again. Now, as all of you will know, Drums of Autumn is the 4th book in the series, and apparently we've got 6 more to go. I hope that season 5 and season 6 picks up a pace, because if season 4 carries on like this, then I don't know, it just may go the way of The Walking Dead. I've lost complete interest in that series now. However, we've got Game of Thrones coming back, and I'm really looking forward to that. So here's a bit of an appetizer. We all know that Brianna comes back. She's already gone through the stones, and she's making her way back to try and save her parents. Is Jamie and Claire going to die in this fire? I don't know, but something terrible does happen. And of course we know that Roger, the plonker that he is, well, he makes his way back as well, going through the standing stones to try and find the love of his life. So before I give you a summary of what's gonna come in season 4, I wanted to focus on one of the main pivotal points in Drums of Autumn, and that of course is Brianna meeting her father again. This might be a tearjerker, but unfortunately, knowing how season 4 has gone so far, it may not be. However, this scene should be a tearjerker. So I'm going to give you a little extract from the scene. I'm just going to read it off the page because I can't remember it word for word. She could scarcely breathe. His eyes were dark blue, soft with kindness. Her eyes fixed on the open collar of his shirt, where the curly hair showed, bleaching gold against his sunburned skin. You're Jamie Fraser, aren't you? He turned around and glanced sharply at her face. I am, he said. The wariness had returned to his face. His eyes narrowed against the sun. He glanced quickly behind him, towards the tavern, but nothing stirred in the open doorway. He took a step closer to her. Who asks? He said softly. Have you a message for me, lass? She felt an absurd desire to laugh, welling up in her throat. Did she have a message? I'm sorry, I can't do the Scottish accent, and I certainly cannot do the American accent, but you get the gist of it. It goes on. My name is Brianna, she said. He frowned uncertain, and something flickered in his eyes. He knew it. He'd heard the name, and it meant something to him. Of course it meant something to him. It'd been building up in season 4 towards us. She swallowed hard, feeling her cheeks blaze, as though she had been seared by a candle flame. I'm your daughter, she said. her voice sounding choked to her own ears. Brianna. So when this plays out on the screen in front of you, this should bring tears to your eyes. Hopefully the actors do this scene justice. Now when you're watching this scene, I just want you to remember that Brianna is cut from the very same cloth as her father. The two of them have got identical temperaments, so you can expect some fireworks later on in the series. Like I said, they've got fiery tempers and there's going to be a lot of battles. Alright, so before I tell you the rest of the story, we're actually making our way down to England today. My son's moving down to a place called Cheltenham, and it's about a 6-hour drive, so I'm going to help him take some of his furniture down. We're going to book into a hotel there for the night, and then for a couple of days I'm going to help him build his furniture. It's typical of the kids today, they don't know how to build their own furniture. So folks, it's an hour later now. We've arrived in the borders in a little village called Swinton. We've come to pick up my son and some of his belongings, and we'll be making our way down to England. I'm really not looking forward to this because we need to pass through Birmingham and Manchester, and if you hit these two cities at the wrong time, you'll never get out of there. I mean, literally, you might as well just buy a house, because it's a horrendous place to get through in heavy traffic. I mean, you can get stuck there for hours. So just to get back to the Outlander series, if you remember in the last series, Voyager, Claire leaves Brianna behind so that she can go find Jamie. But in the interim, Brianna discovers that something terrible is going to happen to her parents, and that in fact that they're going to die in a fire. So she's not going to leave this to chance. She's going to make her way back no matter what. So she finds her way to the Standing Stones in Scotland. So she makes her way back in time through the Standing Stones back to America. Now, I don't know if she realizes this, maybe she does, but Brianna stands changing her entire future and everybody else's future by going back in time. Things get a lot more interesting from here on in. I'm just getting the nod there that people are ready to go now. So we're going to make the next leg of our journey down to England. Right folks, we're in England somewhere. The camera is very shaky here. The dog is busy dragging me down the path here. We've just stopped for a coffee break. Yeah, unfortunately we've still got something like 4 hours to go before we make it down to our destination, and we've still to pass through Birmingham and Manchester, so not looking forward to it. So folks, we finally arrived. We've booked in at number 38 in Cheltenham. Stayed in this hotel before, beautiful hotel, absolutely stunning. George has got a room by himself, and I don't think this is actually a room. I think this is a entire house that he's got for himself. I'll just pan around and show you how big this thing is. So George, what do you think of your bedroom?
Yeah, it's too big. It's like a 1-bedroom house. It's bigger than my house.
I think this place is bigger than most people's houses. And that, folks, is the shower. So this is the shower room.
You could fit just walking to the shower in the morning.
You know how much IKEA furniture I've built in my life?
None.
Folks, I'm about to have a heart attack. My son's got a screwdriver in his hands.
Not responding to this.
So finally we've finished building all the furniture at my son's new house. It's been 2 days now that we've been building the furniture, and I tell you, I can look forward to going home now. It's funny when you reach your 50s, you think you're going to get a bit of a break, but it just doesn't happen. It goes on and on and on. At this rate, I don't think I'll be retiring until I'm in my 80s. So finally back to Outlander. So in the very first episode of season 4, there's a hanging, and this is one of Jamie's friends that is going to be hanged. One of his friends from Otmere prison. There's a bit of a fracas that happens, and in this confusion, somebody escapes, and nobody stops him from escaping. And we see further on in the episode that Jamie actually helps this chap evade the people that want to hang him. And this is going to cost Jamie dearly down the line. Now, I know that very soon, within the first couple of episodes, this person does actually turn on Jamie and end up robbing him. But that's only the beginning of things to come in Series 4. So just remember the name Stephen Bonnet. Later on in Series 4, he's going to play a major role in disrupting everybody's lives. So, of course, Claire and Jamie set off to the wilderness to build their own little empire there on Fraser's Ridge. Fraser's Ridge is actually built in Scotland. It's set in Scotland, and if you go across to Sean's vlog, he actually had a video of the cabin itself. Yes, everybody thought that these scenes were shot in America, but they were not. They've been shot in Europe and in Scotland, which is very odd. This must have been done for monetary reasons. Now, it's while Claire and Jamie have settled into North Carolina and to Fraser's Ridge that Lord Grey turns up, and he turns up with young William. For those of you who know, that was Jamie's son. There's a very odd interaction between Jamie and his son. I don't know, even although the kid was very young when Jamie left, I thought he would have remembered a bit more than what he was letting away with there. So, I don't know, the whole scene was a bit odd to me. Of course, Jamie gets to bond with young William because Lord Grey actually catches the measles, and Claire has to look after him and manages to save his life. And it's at this point that they have a heart-to-heart, and Claire and Lord Grey both discuss their feelings for Jamie. I'm a bit surprised at Claire's reaction, considering that she's from the future and she knows a bit about Jamie's past. Very confrontational. I'm also very surprised that Claire decided to settle in North Carolina, considering that she knows what is coming to that part of the world. There's a civil war about to break out, but she seems quite comfortable in settling there, which I find another very odd situation. I'm not sure what Diana Gabaldon was thinking when she wrote this, but if it was me, I would have been inquisitive. I would have told Claire, listen, I want to see what the future looks like, because it seems that quite a few people have traveled through these stones. So now there's a definite possibility that Jamie could have traveled through these stones to the future. So we now come to one of the major plot points in the series, is that Brianna and Roger discover obviously what's going to happen to Claire and Jamie. She decides to travel to the past, knowing full well that she's going to change the future now. Now, it's while on this ship, when Brianna makes her way to America, that we come across Stephen Bonnet again. And of course, Brianna is... Now, if you've not read the books or you don't want to know, don't keep watching, because I'm about to give away one of the major spoilers here. Well, Brianna is actually raped and she falls pregnant. To cut a long story short, Roger and Brianna meet up again, and Roger discovers what has happened, but he accepts Brianna and he accepts the baby that is coming. So just in conclusion, and this I must stress is my own opinion, as everybody knows that the books that this TV series is based on is very long, and Drums of Autumn is no exception. This is a thick book, and it is a very long read. Drums of Autumn, unfortunately, the beginning is very, very slow, just like the TV series. In fact, many people have now commented on this online, that the TV series has been extremely slow. And I hope this doesn't set the tone for the future. Now, these novels that the TV series was based on is very, very complicated. And there's so much fluff in it. Sorry, I mean historical detail. That you almost have to be a historian to try and get to grips with much of what went on during that period. Now, as I've said, there's been a lot of criticism that both the book and the TV series of season 4 is extremely slow. But I've got a feeling, and I hope so, that it's going to get a lot more exciting. I think that Diana was trying to build many threads, and in doing so trying to bring them together, and the pace might pick up a bit further on in the series. I commented on this a bit earlier on in this vlog, that I don't know if it's just me or if I've been drinking too much wine while watching this series. A lot of the characters, they seem completely changed from the previous series and novels. I don't know, it's almost like they've become a bit more dumber and a bit more demure. As I said, I can't put my finger on this, but there's definitely a change in the characters, the style of the acting, and just the whole setting. I mean, I know they're in America now, but it seems that they've changed since leaving Scotland. The other thing that I've picked up on is that Sam Heughan's character seems completely out of place in America. Now, I know that Sam Heughan is trying his damnedest to try and make this character work, but his character seems to work better in Scotland. I don't know, he just doesn't make a good American. I know that it sounds really strange, but it's just not working for me. And it's the same with Claire. She seems to be flip-flopping from one episode to the other. 1 minute she's a strong, fiery woman, and in the next minute she's all bewildered and doesn't know what's going on. And I don't know, I'm in danger of going off Claire in season 4 very quickly. It's a bit the same with Brianna. Her character can be infuriating at times. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, once again, it is the rape scenes in the novels, especially the novels, and in the TV series. There's an awful lot of them. Now, I know that in this time frame, this sort of thing happened a lot, and women were treated really badly. But it seems that almost every other character now in the Outlander series has been raped or forced into some sexual situation they didn't want. I'm finding it a bit overbearing. I don't know, what do you think? Now, just to finish off, there were 2 standout characters in season 4 for me, especially to do with the acting, is young Ian. Now, unfortunately, he seems to have drifted off a bit as the series has been progressing. He brought a bit of jolliness and happiness to this little enclave. And, of course, Lord John Grey. Now, I don't know what it is about his character, but now I keep saying this, but there is a series in the making just for his character alone. He's got this intriguing character. On one side, he's this very polite, well, you would call him a gentleman in those days. And on this other side of him, he's got this military background. I think, considering the amount of books that Diana has written just about Lord John Grey, they definitely need to look at making a series for him. I think it will get a large following.